gamers, this is NGG here with another review video. This time it is for Vitamin Connection on the Nintendo Switch. I believe this is a Switch exclusive title for the controls that it has. I am not doing this as a single player review. I am doing this as a multiplayer review. So I am reviewing just the multiplayer part of this game with our co-host and partner in crime.
Hey everyone, my name is Minako97, also known as Devine Cummings voice acting on YouTube, and I'm here to review Vitamin Connections on Nintendo Switch with Nintendo Gamer Gal here today.
And we are happy to have him alongside us. So this game is very much I think it's meant to be a multiplayer game. It does have single player aspects in it, but it's definitely meant to be a multiplayer game. So we will definitely get into story, gameplay, and this time we'll have to focus a little bit on controls, because controls are a big key with this one, as it uses the Joy-Cons in such very specific ways, but we'll get into that in our controls section along with the rating at the end. But for right now, let's have you, Minako, take over story, and I will piggyback off of anything I feel that we missed.
Okay, so the story starts off where one of this group of family that has multiple different jobs and tasks and everything, personalities. It starts off with one of the kids catching a cold, like common cold sickness, and the mother, who's voiced by Lauren Lande, grabs these vitamins and she gives it to the child. But what this vitamin are actually vitamins, which are two of them, and it's essentially a ship to travel through the body and to get rid of viruses, bacteria, and other deadly cells within the body itself. But it's not just the human body or the family. They also essentially take care of any task like imaginable. It'd be through a TV or any other, like it can be animals. Like essentially these vitamins, Vita Boy and Vita Girl, I would think that they're called, essentially solve every problem on Earth, but they're also taking care of healing the world itself as a whole.
Right. And so you do see like the vitamins going into different family members and healing whatever illness or thing is aching them, even to the point where it goes into their pet dog. So there are a family of 4, I believe, along with the pet, meaning 5. So there are, every stage, every person has their own kind of stage thing, and they're kind of similar, but definitely the story takes place in each person's body. So let's start with controls before we get into gameplay, as controls have a lot of things that are happening that take place during gameplay. So with the controls, I want to say you definitely want to have a pair of Joy-Cons that have no drift. You do not want to play this game with Joy-Cons that have drift in double player, because it will not work. A lot of this game requires precise movements, and it uses a lot of the Joy-Con functionality. As I was second player for most of the time, I had to worry about tilting the ship and controlling like the AR sensor. You were controlling the ship, what parts of the ship were you controlling?
I was movement. All of mine was movement, the grapple hook for the arm, and charging the laser. Those are like the 3 mechanics that I had.
Right, and I had to be shooting the laser. So he's charging the laser while I was shooting the laser and tilting. And so my Joy-Cons, unfortunately, because you have to tilt the ship a lot, and sometimes I would have to do a full rotation because I couldn't move back because I would bump the ship on something. My Joy-Cons would desync so much times, so that when we were shooting enemies, I couldn't actually aim correctly. It would be like aiming opposite, and that's where I had issues with using the Joy-Cons in this game. It was fun being able to play and use a lot of the Joy-Con functionality, like the AR sensor with the mini games, where I had to like use depth perception, like holding the AR camera and going back and forth so that the camera could visualize what I was doing on screen, which was nice. It was hard, but it was nice. Now let's get into gameplay. So this is definitely I believe, meant to be a 2-player game, because playing it solo, and I did try it for a little solo, it's not as fun, and it's a lot more difficult. There are a lot more buttons you as a solo player have to keep in mind of, whereas if you're playing it as a multiplayer game, my partner, you had half of the controllers and I had half of the other controls, which was nice, but it did require team cooperation. So I would say make sure you play with somebody who is not going to get as frustrated as you, because we got frustrated a lot at these controls and at this game, times where we actually need to, like, all right, let's take a mini break, de-stress, and get all of this out, because the game is a little hard. It looks like it's meant for children. I do not see children playing this kind of game where you have to be moving the ship and tilting the ship in certain puzzles and figuring out which direction in the body to go, because some of the body parts have... What were we collecting? We were collecting... Stars. So some of the body parts have stars, and you wouldn't normally have to go in that area, but if you're trying to get like the 100% the game and do all the mini stories in the game, you have to collect... Some stages had 5 stars and some stages had 6 stars. So you have to go there and collect all those stars while shooting, while doing everything else, while trying not to die. And a lot of that was super hard. Is there anything in gameplay you want to add?
I know in gameplay, like, a lot of times you'll run into the mini games with different family members or missions, and a lot of times the frustration would come from that the game would shift you as a character. So it's a lot of, like, a lot of times, like, the game would be the issue more than the player. And, when you're playing a game, you're not thinking like, oh, it's the game's fault. You think, oh, it's the person that's controlling its fault. But a lot of time, the game will just move on its own. And I came across that more times than ever, especially with the rhythm, like clapping mini game, especially.
It does have lots and lots of different mini games. Like every sub boss stage is a mini game, and so we had the clapping, the rhythm one that you said. We had the hand AR one that I said. We also had that little loop thing that we both had to control. Like, we had to stay in line without hitting the line, so I had to kind of adjust while you were moving on the line, and you had to kind of adjust so that we were staying on the paths without hitting the bumpers. Right, I did like that. Well, I think all of this. Oh, the ping pong. Oh my god. Ping pong one was not fun. But they do have it's the same mini games, but different variations and different difficulties of the mini games as you progress in the game. So they start off kind of okay, and then they just get progressively harder and longer. Oh, and there was that spinning one too. Remember the one that would spin?
There was a
and you had it would go into it would rotate the thing, and then you'd hit a different color and it rotated the opposite way, and then so at the end it started having little beacons that if you'd hit them the thing would rotate the opposite way, the ship.
I actually
do you not know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I forgot about that one, honestly.
Yeah, but that was another hard mini game. I mean, when we started off, those mini games were easy. When we get to the second ending, they became so much more difficult. And this game does have 2 endings, and I'm not going to spoil the second ending for you, but you definitely expects you to play through the game more than once. It's a similar story, but not the same-ish. And that's as much as I'll say about that. And so now let's get into our ratings. This Vitamin Connection game, it's going to be from 1 to 5. I'll have you start. What is your rating of Vitamin Connection?
Unfortunately, because I did this with the last one. I give Vitamin Connection a 1 out of 5. Very similar to the River City Girl Zero review. I love the voice acting. I love the the conversation. I think the game is very beautiful with its cutscenes and its very kid-friendly environment and everything. But the controls, the music, the mini games, it all kind of boils down to like frustration at like whoever you're playing as, rather be like your partner or someone that you just wanted to like play a game with. Like it can be very frustrating, and a lot of times those frustrations can like be out of your control. It can be the game's fault. And a lot of like other issues boil down to like collecting stars, because in order to like get the bonus stages, you have to do that all in one sitting. You can't just like grab it and back out. Like you have to complete the whole stage. And then there was like one point in time where the game crashed, and like normally on like Nintendo Switch it just takes you to the home screen, but like Vitamin Connection has like its own like crash screen that you have to like close out, that we took a screenshot of. So like, all that being said, while I did enjoy the story and the voice acting itself, I think the gameplay and the mechanics itself definitely lacked a lot and can take a lot out of you when it comes to playing this with another partner or someone beside you as well. So that's why I give it a 1 out of 5.
Wow. I actually expected you to give it something higher, but well, I'm gonna give it higher. I actually had a lot of fun with this game, to the point where I was trying to play it as a single player game, but there were frustrating things when it came to desyncing my Joy-Con because I was the one spinning, so that was not fun. I did love a lot of the music. When we got into the more American music, I kind of liked it. Some of the Japanese music was like, it's definitely not what the Western world listens to. I'll just say it that. But I did like the music. I did like the voice acting. And that's probably why I'm going to rate it kind of a 3 out of 5. Because I really like the voice acting. I really like... The gameplay could have been better. Like, if the controller's desyncing wasn't an issue, and I guess moving around, we would have had a better time. And the game is a little short, so that I knock 1 off for each of those. But otherwise, I pretty much really enjoyed this game. I wish it was longer. I wish the controllers worked better, but I had a good time, minus the few frustrating parts where we needed to take breathers and relax and USA for a little bit until we got back into the game. So that is what we thought about Vitamin Connection. You want to give us your exit ticket?
Sure. So you can find me on YouTube at Devine Cummings Voice Acting, and as long as my other social media sites in the description of this video. And thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure having you with us and playing with you this Vitamin Connection game. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys try out the Vitamin Connection game if you have somebody to play with. It's definitely a fun experience if you have a person to play with that isn't easily as frustrated as I am. But thank you guys for watching. Happy gaming, guys. Bye.